You know that feeling? She step off the train, maybe it's Manchester Piccadilly, a bit gray, a bit drizzly, or you're lost in Edinburgh's old town, and suddenly it's like nobody knows you.
Yeah, that sense of being untethered. It's a specific kind of freedom, isn't it? Being outside your usual bubble.
Exactly. And that feeling, that possibility in the air. That's our jumping off point today.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into, well, discreet travel hookups right here in the UK. And maybe you listening, you've thought about this, maybe considered it when you're away from home.
It's definitely a thing. And, digital platforms have made it, well, more accessible, maybe more talked about too.
For sure. So for this dive, we're looking at some really interesting stuff from menmeetmen.com. They've got articles, guides covering the why, the how, the apps, even meeting IRL, all with that focus on discretion.
Yeah, and our goal today is really to unpack it all, give you a clear, sort of insightful look at the whole scene in the UK.
We'll cover the psychology, the
Yeah.
UK landscape itself, the potential, downsides.
And crucially, how to navigate it safely. If it's something you're considering exploring.
Okay, let's start there then. This allure of the getaway grind, as
Yeah.
the source calls it. Psychologically, what's drawing people in when they're traveling?
Well, it's a mix of things, really. Menmeetmen.com points strongly to anonymity.
Right.
When you're away, you're not Dave from accounts or Mark the teacher. Those labels kind of fade.
Yeah, you shed that skin for a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that detachment, it can be incredibly freeing. Lets you explore parts of yourself you might normally keep under wraps. It's like hitting a reset button, sociologically speaking.
A reset button. I like that. So it's more than just people not knowing your name.
Oh, yeah, it's shedding the baggage, the expectations that come with your everyday life, and that anonymity. It makes you feel, well, liberated.
How so?
The usual social risks, judgment, bumping into your boss, whatever, they feel much lower. So you might feel a bit bolder, maybe pursue connections you wouldn't normally back home.
Right, like a temporary passport to a slightly different you. The source also talks about escaping routine. How does that play into it?
Think about it. Routine is comfortable, sure, but travel shakes everything up.
New sights.
Exactly. Your senses are heightened,
Oh, yeah.
and neurologically, that novelty can trigger dopamine.
The pleasure chemical.
Right. Linked to reward, attraction.
Mm.
Suddenly, a brief encounter can feel way more intense, more exciting than your normal day-to-day. Your brain's basically saying, whoa, pay attention, this is different and kind of good.
So your brain's just more open,
Yeah.
receptive. The article mentioned increased mental bandwidth, too. What's that about?
Well, when you're not juggling work deadlines, thinking about the bins, all that everyday stuff.
Yeah, the mental load.
Precisely. You've got more cognitive space free. And that often translates into being more open to new experiences, new people. You're less bogged down, more present, less must do, more maybe I will.
Less mental clutter, more room for spontaneous connections. Then there's escapism, experimenting with identity. That sounds interesting.
It taps into how we see ourselves, doesn't it? Travel is a temporary escape hatch from your established identity. It's a chance to, try on a different hat. Be a bit more daring, maybe, without worrying about the long-term fallout back home. Like playing a role, knowing the curtain will eventually fall.
A limited run performance of Adventurous Me. And the source really hits this now aspect, the focus on the present.
Yes, exactly. Because these connections are often understood, even implicitly, to be temporary, there's less pressure.
Right, no need to plan the second date or meet the parents.
Pretty much. It's about the intensity of that moment, that shared experience, without the weight of future expectations. It's about the immediate spark.
Okay, got the psychology. Let's zoom into the UK then. Where are the main hotspots for this, according to menmeetmen.com?
Well, no big surprise, it's mainly the big open centers. London is, of course, #1.
Huge, diverse.
Yeah, loads of anonymity built in. The article flags places like Soho, Vauxhall, East London, each with its own vibe, its own scene. But London's so vast, apps become pretty essential just to navigate it.
You'd almost need one just to find the right postcode. What about outside London?
Manchester gets a big mention. Canal Street, obviously, a very established LGBTQ+ hub. Maybe a bit more of a community feel compared to London's sheer scale, the article suggests.
Okay.
Edinburgh, too, especially during the festivals. Huge influx of people. Very transient, dynamic scene then.
Right, that makes sense.
And Brighton, of course. Long history as a queer destination. being smaller, more concentrated. Maybe connections happen a bit more organically sometimes.
Interesting. And it's not just those big names, is it? The article mentions Birmingham, Liverpool, Leeds, Bristol having scenes too, maybe quieter ones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It shows it's not just the megacities. The desire is probably there wherever people travel. And the tools, the apps make it possible almost anywhere.
Let's talk about those tools. What are the main ways people connect for these discreet travel hookups in the UK? What does the source say?
Right, the tools of the trade.
Mm.
Grindr comes up consistently as, well, the main one. Location-based, often geared towards more immediate connections. It's kind of the default, really.
Yeah, that seems to track. What else?
Tinder and Bumble get mentioned, broader user base, so maybe more filtering needed.
Yeah.
But they have those travel modes, which can be useful for planning ahead.
Setting your location before you arrive.
Exactly. Then Hinge is positioned as maybe for slightly more
Mm.
connection-focused interactions,
Mm.
but still used for travel encounters by some.
Okay.
And then the niche apps. Feel for kink, non-monogamy, that sort of thing. Scruff often attracts a particular tribe.
Hmm.
Recon more focused on specific fetishes.
Wow, okay, so there really is an app for almost everything. The key takeaway seems to be choosing the right tool for what you're actually looking for and knowing who uses what where.
Absolutely. You wouldn't fire up Recon expecting the same vibe as Hinge. Understanding the app's ethos is pretty crucial.
Let's shift to the social side in the UK. The source mentions this interesting mix, British reserve, but also growing openness. How does that actually play out?
Yeah, that's where knowing the local culture helps. The UK definitely has that reputation for initial reserve.
Stiff upper lip and all that?
Sort of. The article notes banter, humor, they're often used as icebreakers, a way to test the waters without being super direct.
Right.
But underneath that, there is a growing acceptance of different relationship styles. Casual sex is less taboo, especially maybe for younger people. It's a weird mix.
So, like subtle signals and maybe a bit of indirect chat, but layered over a more relaxed attitude overall. The source also talks about discretion and safety, that what happens on tour stays on tour idea, but with common sense.
That phrase sums up the privacy aspect, the temporary nature. But, and the article stresses this, it can't override basic safety. People might want fun, discretion, sure, but safety has to come first. Always.
Absolutely. Which brings us neatly to the risks. Because the article is quite clear, this isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Let's talk physical safety first. What does menmeetmen.com highlight?
It really emphasizes that meeting strangers always has risks, and being in an unfamiliar place can amplify them.
Makes sense.
Potential for aggression is mentioned. Someone seems fine, then isn't. Being lured to isolated spots. Theft. Robbery. And disturbingly, it notes documented cases of criminals using dating apps to target tourists, sometimes using drugs to incapacitate them.
Wow, okay, that's pretty sobering. A real reminder that the anonymity that feels freeing can also be, well, exploited. What about health risks?
The article is very direct here. That holiday mode feeling, it can sometimes make people drop their guard about sexual health.
Yeah, swept up in the moment.
Right. Spontaneity, maybe some alcohol. It can lead to inconsistent protection or none at all. STI prevalence is a known issue with app use generally, and travel adds another layer, different local rates, maybe less access to your usual healthcare.
So the advice is?
Unambiguous, consistent, correct condom use every single time. Carry your own supply. It's fundamental self-care, non-negotiable.
Absolutely crucial. Okay, beyond physical and health, what about emotional risks? The article mentions those too.
Yeah, the temporary thing can definitely cause issues. Mismatched expectations are a big one.
Like one person wants a quick fling, the other catches feelings.
Exactly. That leads to disappointment, confusion. Ghosting, which is common anyway, can feel extra isolating when you're alone somewhere unfamiliar. And depressingly, the article mentions romance scams too. People exploiting vulnerability for money.
So even seemingly casual encounters can have real emotional weight or fallout. The article does try to balance it, though, mentioning good experiences too. Thrill and threat coexisting.
That's a really good way to put it. It acknowledges that, yeah, there are bad stories, but there are also great ones. Unexpected connections, fascinating chats, getting great local tips, things that genuinely make the trip better. But it's vital to know both potentials exist. Being risk-aware doesn't mean nothing good can happen. It just means going in with your eyes open, with caution.
Okay, so eyes open, stay sharp. How do you actually do that? The article gives some solid, practical advice. Street smarts, they call it. Let's run through them. First up, public territory first.
This is rule number 1, basically. Always, always meet in a public place first. Busy pub, cafe, park in daylight. somewhere with other people around.
Not straight to their place or yours.
Absolutely not. You need that chance to check the vibe, assess the person, the situation in a neutral, safe space first.
Makes total sense. Easy exit strategy if needed. Next, intel sharing.
Yeah, tell someone you trust your plans. Simple but effective. Ping a friend the name, where you're meeting, roughly when. Sharing your live location on your phone. Also a good idea if you're comfortable. It's a safety net.
Like a virtual buddy system. Okay, this one feels huge. Gut feelings matter.
Trust your intuition. Seriously. If something feels off, even if you can't pin it down, listen to that feeling.
Don't just brush it off to be polite.
Exactly. Politeness goes out the window if you feel unsafe. Make an excuse. Leave. Make something up if you have to. Your safety trumps everything else.
Absolutely. Better safe than sorry. Always. Then there's mind the booze and other stuff. Also vital.
Yeah, alcohol, drugs.
Yeah.
They lower inhibitions, cloud judgment, make you more vulnerable. So be really mindful of how much you drink. Keep an eye on your drink, always. And be super wary if someone offers you substances you just don't know what they are or how they'll hit you.
Total non-negotiable, that one. Stay in control. Next tip, information lockdown.
Right. Don't overshare personal details too soon. Your hotel name, full name, where you work, detailed travel plans. Keep it light initially.
Be wary of too many questions too fast.
Definitely. Build trust first. You don't need to give your life story in the first 5 minutes. Protect your privacy.
Good point. And finally, the essential reminder, condom sense.
We've said it, but it bears repeating loud and clear. Carry condoms. Use condoms every single time. No ifs, no buts. Protect your health. Protect your partner's health.
Solid advice. All sounds like common sense, but maybe even more critical when you're out of your usual environment. Okay, briefly, tech tools and cultural cues.
The apps themselves often have safety features built in. Location sharing options, profile verification sometimes, blocking, reporting. Get familiar with those on whatever app you use. The article also suggests maybe using a different photo for travel profiles. Keep things a bit separate. And check your privacy settings, who sees your location, your full profile, etc.
Right, manage that digital footprint. And UK cultural stuff.
Just a reminder that UK communication can be subtle sometimes. Irony, self-deprecation, maybe less direct than other cultures. What seems like disinterest might just be reserved.
So pay attention to nuance.
Yeah, body language, tone, and remember regional differences exist too.
Yeah.
But universally, respecting boundaries and getting clear, enthusiastic consent is paramount.
Absolutely. Consent is key, always. Now, looking beyond just the hookup itself, the article hints these encounters can sometimes offer more.
Yeah, it suggests being open to that possibility. You might get great local tips, find a cool hidden bar, or just have a really stimulating conversation with someone different. It can enrich the travel experience itself.
Seeing the person beyond just the immediate goal, the article also says manage expectations based on trip length.
For sure. A weekend break is different from a 2-week trip. Trying to pack in loads of dates might just be stressful. Quality over quantity, maybe. Focus on 1 or 2 potentially more rewarding interactions.
Makes sense. Be realistic. And what about afterwards, when the trip ends?
Well, often the temporary nature provides a natural endpoint. The article suggests maybe having a quiet understanding or even a quick chat about expectations. Is this just for tonight? Are you open to meeting again if you're both still around?
Clear communication helps avoid weirdness later.
Yeah. Digital makes staying in touch easy if you both want to, but distance also offers a natural fade out if that's preferred.
Right. Well, this has been incredibly thorough. A real deep dive into discreet travel hookups in the UK, drawing heavily on that material from menmeetmen.com.
It really is a complex area, isn't it? Psychology, safety, culture, tech, all mixed together. Their material gives a great overview, the excitement, the freedom, but crucially, the need for awareness and safety.
Definitely. And for anyone listening who wants to explore this more or other related topics, menmeetmen.com seems like a really solid resource. They've got in-depth guides, loads of safety advice, stuff on apps, cruising, saunas. It seems very comprehensive and at helping people connect confidently but safely. They have audio guides too, practical tips worth checking out. So yeah, for more detailed info, safety tips, all that kind of stuff, head over to menmeetmen.com.
Which leaves us with maybe a final thought for you, the listener. When you are exploring connections somewhere new, how do you find that personal balance between embracing the spontaneous moment and keeping yourself safe? And what might stepping outside your routine actually reveal about your own desires, your own comfort zone, something to maybe mull over on your next trip?